About 2 years ago, the crowdfunded startup European Sleeper started operating their first night train service between Brussels and Prague. And this winter, they have added a new route to their network, a winter night train from Brussels to Venice, at least when everything is going according to plan. Join me on the inaugural ride that rather surprisingly ended up in Innsbruck instead of Venice. Hello and welcome to Brussels Midi Station, one of 3 main stations in Belgium's capital. Tonight we will catch the first European Sleeper winter train to Venice. I have just arrived here and it's already around 15 minutes before the train's planned departure, so I unfortunately don't have the time to show you the station in detail. So let's quickly head inside. Our train will depart from track 3, which is placed directly next to Eurostar's international terminal. Consequently, the way to the platform is a little hidden. But anyways, here we are, and the train hasn't arrived yet. As tonight's service is the train's inaugural ride, the platform is pretty busy with many train spotters, railway bloggers and journalists being present. Even the company's founders Elmar van Buren and Chris Engelsmann were present and available for questions. And time for questions we had, as unfortunately it pretty quickly became clear that the train is delayed by about 45 minutes due to a temporary road closure near Brussels airport. That's definitely not a good start of this service, but really something outside of European Sleeper's control. But that's not all. Moments later, I saw that the train was partly cancelled and would actually terminate in Innsbruck instead of Venice due to unresolved licensing issues with the Italian officials. And although passengers were able to take any day train from Innsbruck to Venice without additional cost, and the licensing issues have since been resolved, this definitely already gave me mixed feelings, even before the train departed. Around 30 minutes after its planned departure, the train finally arrived, with a Bombardier Trax Class 186 carrying a variety of leased Couchettes and sleeping coaches. Some of these coaches are usually used by Optima Tours, the operator of the famous Optima Express between Austria and Turkey, while others, like the about 70 years old sleeping car I will stay in, are leased in from TRI Train Rental. So let's make our way to the sleeping car at the back of the train and get aboard. As you can see, the carriage's gangway is very narrow and there is no way to walk normally with a wider travel backpack. But somehow I was able to make my way to my room anyway, so let's take a quick look at it. I have booked a pretty spacious private sleeper room for tonight. We will soon see what our cabin has to offer, but first let's take a quick look at our route for tonight. Our trip tonight starts at Brussels Midi or Zout station. After exiting Belgium's capital, we will enter the Netherlands to stop at Breda and Eindhoven, before reaching Germany shortly before midnight for a quick stop at Köln Hauptbahnhof. After a hopefully good night of sleep, the train will reach München Ost, then enter Austria for a quick stop at Wörgl, and finally reach its involuntarily terminus of Innsbruck Hauptbahnhof. If the train had run as planned, it would have continued to Brennero, Bolzano, Verona, and finally reach Venezia Mestre station at around 3 PM. Our journey to Innsbruck is around 1,166 kilometers or 724 miles long and takes about 15 hours and 53 minutes, which gets us an average speed of around 73 kilometers or 45 miles per hour. About 5 minutes after reaching our cabin, we depart Brussels and start our journey towards Austria, being cheered on by railway enthusiasts and European Sleeper staff. And after enjoying the final views on Brussels for a few minutes, it's time to take a closer look at our room for tonight. I have booked a bed in a private sleeper room tonight, and as you can see, it's quite spacious and even offers an additional chair and table. The room actually is a free bed compartment though, and can be booked as such as well. While the second foldable bed is placed right above a lower bunk, bed 3 is more of a sleeping alcove, just beneath the ceiling. As mentioned before, the compartment comes with 1, or better say 2, chairs and a small table, with a second foldable chair being placed just where my bed is. Next to the fixed chair, you can find the compartment's adjustable heating. Above it, one of 2 windows is placed. Be warned though, tilting the window while the train is moving requires some strength and can lead to you scratching your thumbs on the sharply edged window blinds. Just as expected, both windows can be fully blinded. Switching our attention to the bed, both the mattress as well as the bedding are pretty comfortable. Next to the bed you can find an attendant call button, although I doubt it would actually lead to the train attendant coming to your room, as well as a sadly non-functional light switch and a pretty flickery reading light. You could put your personal belongings on the small floating bedside shelf. Right next to the room's table you can find 2 more light switches as well as a storage pocket. If needed, 2 cabins can be connected via a door on the opposite side of the bed, but I doubt this is actually done, so instead the door offers an additional coat hook. And next to it, the ladder for reaching the upper bunk is placed. Finally, one of the highlights of the room is the pretty spacious washing corner. On top of it, the controls for the room's heating are placed. And if you open the cabinet, you will find a spacious wash basin with hot water, soap, a towel, 3 mirrors and enough space to store your personal utensils as well as the room's only power outlet. Beneath the wash basin you can find a few drawers that are mainly used as garbage cans. And that concludes our room tour. All in all, the cabin is pretty spacious and comfortable, but you can definitely see and feel its age. Oh, and before I forget, if you have larger luggage that doesn't need to be directly accessible, you can store it on the opposite side of the sleeping alcove. But I prefer to keep my luggage at hand, so I didn't use it. About 3 hours after leaving Brussels, we reach a pretty busy Eindhoven Central station. But this gives us the perfect opportunity to get a few minutes of fresh air before dinner. But after we get back on board, it's time to eat and look at the train's food options. Every passenger on the train gets a free pack of water. Additionally, guests in the sleeper cabin are entitled to a free drink from the train's menu. The menu itself mainly consists of snacks and various drinks, but limited merchandise is also available. And if you want, you can also pre-order breakfast for the morning. But for sleeping car guests, breakfast is included, so I didn't have to decide whether to pay a pretty hefty €14.50 for it or to go hungry in the morning. European sleepers trains to Italy do carry a dining car with them, but as the inaugural ride was very busy, I wasn't able to get a reservation, so I will have to make do with my pre-bought food as well as what the menu offers. Although it's pretty late now, I'm not that tired yet, so let me quickly show you the other accommodation offerings on the train. Most cars on the train are Couchette cars that offer cabins with up to 6 beds. You can both book a bed in a shared cabin as well as book a private cabin for you and your friends. The Couchettes are pretty similar to what you can find on most other European night train sets, as most of them use older but modernized Couchette cars. As the train carries a variety of different Couchette cars and more detailed booking options are not available, the exact type and width of your cabin seems to somewhat rely on luck though. If you are on a budget or just really tough, you can also buy a seating ticket. On the trains to Italy, European sleepers seems to have decided to use Couchette cabins for sleeping passengers as well. On their service between Brussels and Prague, regular seating cabins are used though. If you are traveling in a Couchette car, you can use one of various wash basins for your personal hygiene. As we are getting closer to the dinner car, it seems like European Sleeper has used some Couchette cabins as dining cabins as well, at least for tonight. It's too bad I wasn't able to get a reservation for dinner in one of them. But anyways. The dinner car used on the train is a former Deutsche Bahn Intercity board bistro car that is now owned by TRI Train Rental. And as you can see, it's very busy in here, even this close to midnight. But don't you worry, we will have a closer look at the restaurant and the menu in the morning when it's less busy. It's around 10 past midnight by now, so it's time to close our cabin's door, head to bed, and get some sleep. Good night everyone. After about 7 hours of pretty good sleep, I wake up somewhere around Munich. During the night, the train's delay has increased slightly and we are now around 60 minutes behind schedule. But this at least gives us enough time for a lengthy breakfast. For sleeper passengers, breakfast is included, while passengers in Couchette cars or seats can order their breakfast from the train's menu. The breakfast itself consists of a coffee or a tea, a basic bread roll and a standardized small breakfast bundle with crackers, a bit of cereal, a small yogurt, some orange juice, jam and various type of spread, plus a napkin and wooden cutlery. I was pretty satisfied with the breakfast, but would have never decided to spend 14 € extra for it if I had to order it from the train's menu. Now that we have finished our breakfast, we can sit back and enjoy the first view on the Alps while crossing the German-Austrian border. And this also gives us the perfect opportunity to take a look at the journey's price as well as the booking procedure. I paid 332 € for a private sleeper cabin. And although this without a doubt is a lot of money, I would say that the price is reasonable, especially considering the prices of competitive offers like ÖBB's night jets. Plus, tickets for Couchette cabins are considerably cheaper and can often be purchased for less than 100 €. You can purchase tickets on the European Sleeper website by selecting your departure and arrival station as well as the travel date, the class you want to travel in as well as various additional options, and finally filling out some personal information. The payment options offered are numerous, so no problems should arise here. But those of you who now are keen to travel with one of European Sleeper's trains to Italy will be disappointed, as this train is a seasonal offering in February and March of 2025 only. European Sleeper does plan to relaunch the train next winter though, so stay tuned for more information. Okay, let's take a look at the train's toilets. Since the carriages are quite old, the toilets are as well. However, they were in decent condition. The water was running properly and soap was available too. Unfortunately, neither toilet paper nor paper towels were provided, which is far from ideal, even if we are only about 30 minutes away from our final destination. Anyways, as promised, we can now have a closer look at the now much calmer restaurant car and the menu. The drinks on offer are more or less the same to the menu available at the train attendants. But the food offerings are way better. In the evening, an up to 3-course meal was served, while in the morning, various snacks were available for breakfast. We are now swiftly closing in on Innsbruck, so it's time to rate our journey. All in all, I enjoyed my trip with European Sleeper. The sleeping cabinets are spacious and I had a good night of sleep, which earns the train 5 out of 5 stars for comfort. The ticket prices are high, but are within the range of the generally much too high prices for night trains. The pretty infrequent schedule and partial termination of some services really puts a damper on the user experience though. Consequently, it's 3 out of 5 stars for the booking category, while it's 4 stars for the ticket prices. Finally, it's 4 out of 5 stars for miscellaneous features, as I do like both the general food and drink options as well as the dedicated restaurant car on the train. I am missing Wi-Fi on the train though. In summary, European Sleeper's winter train is a hit and miss, and the company definitely has some work to do before the offerings are really competitive. However, I do respect and admire European Sleeper's attempt to establish itself in the night train market and to become a pioneer in night train operations, especially as the railway transport market in Europe is anything but an easy business. I am a strong supporter of innovative train operators, which is why I chose to invest some of my own money in the company during one of their crowdfunding rounds in early summer of 2024. I really do wish European Sleeper the best in their ventures, and maybe one day they will become a true powerhouse in European night train operations. And with that, we arrive at Innsbruck Hauptbahnhof, where I will check out ÖBB's Railjet Classic service in a few days. If you're looking forward to more train related content, make sure to subscribe to my channel and check out the video on screen now. Thanks for watching, see you next time.